What drives major countries like China, Germany, and Italy to secretly and carefully withdraw tons of their gold reserves from the United States? And why are these moves seen as a direct threat to the status of the dollar and Washington's financial influence? In this video, we reveal the secrets behind the largest gold transfer operations in modern history and their profound impact on the global economy. Don't forget to support us with a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to receive all our latest powerful economic and political investigations. Away from the spotlight, China was the first to take the initiative to repatriate its gold from New York, describing the move as the dragon returning to its throne. Within just 5 weeks, it managed to transfer nearly 1,500 tons of gold bars to Shanghai via a fleet of Y-20 military transport aircraft and commercial ships, whose cargo was declared as high-precision industrial equipment, valued at more than $250 billion. The operation was classified as the largest single gold repatriation in modern history. Washington, however, was dealt a double blow. Not only was the operation carried out in complete secrecy without prior notice, but it also came amid escalating trade tensions between the US and China, from tariffs to reciprocal technology restrictions. With this sudden withdrawal, global confidence in what is known as the world's vault was severely shaken. Many countries realized that keeping their gold reserves inside the United States was no longer a guarantee of financial sovereignty, but rather a political risk that could cost them their economic stability and monetary independence. Traditional alliances began to erode. The relationship with the US was no longer seen as a guarantee of stability, but as a burden that threatened the financial security of its allies. Germany and Italy are now seeking to protect themselves from a potential collapse of America's role as the backbone of the global financial system, a shift the world has not witnessed since World War II. For decades, the vaults of the Federal Reserve had been a symbol of financial safety, but this era seems to be nearing its end. If massive amounts of gold are withdrawn from the US, global markets could face severe instability. The dollar may lose part of its value, US debt costs could rise, and ordinary citizens might feel the direct impact on their lives. What's more concerning is that Germany and Italy may only be the beginning, signaling a historic transformation in the structure of the global monetary system. But why now? And why these two countries specifically? And what role does Trump play in all of this? America's true strength lies not only in its wealth, but also in the global trust it commands. A key pillar of that trust is the vaults of the Federal Reserve in New York, which hold more than 6,300 tons of gold belonging to over 90 countries, valued at more than $460 billion. Gold stored in the United States was not merely a technical choice, but rather an expression of deep trust in its role as a guarantor of global stability. Since the end of the war, the US had become the world's vault, gaining unprecedented influence. Managing foreign gold reserves not only strengthened the dollar's position, but also turned America into a global hub for gold trading, providing it with a strategic window into the financial behavior of nations. This privilege allowed Washington to cement its economic dominance through trust, not just wealth, but that trust, once one of its most powerful tools of soft power, has recently begun to erode. Germany and Italy shocked the world by deciding to withdraw nearly 1,930 tons of gold from the US. The operation is being carried out using military cargo planes such as the IL-76 and C-130, transporting around 50 to 60 tons per week, to be completed within 2 months. However, this move may not be isolated. Other European nations, including France, the Netherlands, Austria, and Belgium, are now considering pulling their gold as well. These are countries that had long considered keeping their reserves in New York a wise and secure decision, but even that certainty is no longer solid. These European maneuvers are not empty threats. During the previous wave of tariffs imposed by the Trump administration, France and the Netherlands had already repatriated part of their gold. And today, as Trump once again raises tariffs on European steel, cars, and agricultural goods, leaders of the old continent are beginning to rethink their reliance on America. Gold is now increasingly seen as a strategic risk rather than a safeguard. What was once a symbol of transatlantic unity has become a tool of maneuvering, an economic weapon, and a means of protection. If Germany proceeds with its plans, this would be the largest gold repatriation in modern history. Germany holds more than 3,350 tons of gold, of which around 1,100 tons are stored abroad. Italy, meanwhile, possesses about 2,450 tons, with nearly 700 tons held outside the country. Germany's last transfer took place quietly between 2013 and 2017, when it brought back 300 tons from Paris and New York to to Frankfurt. But the current situation is entirely different. Today, gold is returning in a highly charged political climate, not in a routine financial context. Since Trump's return to the White House, he has reignited tensions with Europe, particularly on trade. His administration imposed heavy tariffs on a wide range of European goods, from cars to wine. Duties began at 10%, but threats quickly escalated to 50%, shocking European companies. The crisis has gone beyond economics to become a deep crisis of trust between the two sides. Europe now sees a dangerous pattern in Trump's behavior, using the American economy as a weapon of pressure. The pressing question in European capitals is, if he can use trade as a weapon, what would stop him from using gold the same way? In Germany, officials are asking why more than 1,200 tons of their gold still remain in the United States. In Italy, some have compared keeping gold in New York to leaving your money with someone who might seize it at any moment. These concerns are not unfounded. Europe witnessed firsthand how the US froze Russia's reserves after the invasion of Ukraine, an event that sent shockwaves around the world. Now, even Washington's closest allies are feeling the danger. Pressure is mounting on European central banks. Everyone, from politicians to business leaders, is calling for the repatriation of gold. At the same time, doubts have begun to emerge about the independence of the Federal Reserve, which has long been considered a neutral institution. But with Trump dominating the political scene, Europeans are raising troubling scenarios. What if the president ordered delays in shipments, reviewed balances, or even froze European assets? None of this seems like fantasy anymore. It is becoming a political reality unfolding before our eyes. In Germany, the gold issue has turned into a heated political battle. The far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD party, is demanding the return of all German gold reserves to the country, arguing that trusting the United States or any foreign power to safeguard the national wealth is a sign of weakness and dependence. One of the party's leaders, Alice Weidel, says that this issue is not only about money, but also about national dignity and public trust. What is striking is that voters have begun to agree with her, especially as tensions with Washington continue to escalate. Even Friedrich Merz, the leader of the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, a politician known for his moderate stance and traditional closeness to the United States, has started to change his tone. Once a strong advocate of a close alliance with America, Merz now speaks about independence from Washington. With the rise in popularity of the AfD and Trump's threats to impose new tariffs, Merz has gone as far as suggesting that Germany's gold reserves could be used as a trade bargaining chip. In other words, gold is no longer viewed only as a strategic reserve, but as a tool of political leverage. This political confrontation is fraught with risks. If Friedrich Merz fulfills his promise to repatriate Germany's gold, the country could face an American response in the form of economic sanctions. But if he backs down, he risks appearing weak and submissive to pressure. Either option carries high political and economic costs. Meanwhile, in Italy, the situation is even more complicated. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was one of the loudest voices calling for the return of Italy's gold as far back as 2019, when she was still in the opposition. But today, as Prime Minister, she realizes that any move could spark a crisis with Washington, especially with the renewal of trade disputes and the return of tariffs on steel and aluminum. The Italian economy simply cannot bear additional pressure. Now, Meloni faces a dilemma: either fulfill her promises or remain silent and avoid confrontation with the United States. But whichever path she takes, the political price will be heavy. If Germany and Italy proceed together with repatriating their gold, the US Federal Reserve would lose billions of dollars in foreign deposits. Technically, it may look like just a change in accounting records, but in the eyes of the markets, it would ring a warning bell. Investors do not react to numbers, but to fear. A rapid outflow of gold could trigger a liquidity crisis in the American financial system, disrupt lending operations, and quickly increase borrowing costs. The Federal Reserve has tools such as the repurchase window, but these are useless in the face of waves of panic. And when America's image as a safe haven is shaken, the dangerous question arises: if Germany and Italy have lost trust, why should we trust? The withdrawal of gold will not stop at its financial impact. To finance the transport operation and restructure their reserves, Germany and Italy are expected to sell about $18 billion worth of US Treasury bonds. This sale would put pressure on bond bond prices and push yields higher further, which would increase the burden on the US government, already spending more than $1 trillion annually just on interest payments. According to estimates by the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, these costs could reach $1.2 trillion by 2026. But if the gold repatriation plan is carried out, that figure might be reached much sooner. Higher bond yields would directly impact mortgage loans. Even a small increase of just 15 basis points in interest rates could raise mortgage costs by 20 to 25 basis points. This means that someone with a $35,000 mortgage loan would pay about $30 more per month. On the broader economic level, this could lead to a decline in housing demand and a 5 to 6% drop in new construction projects by 2026. What we are witnessing today is not just an ordinary financial step. It is a move by two European nations that has triggered a chain of reactions which may cost the United States billions in additional debt and unleash financial shockwaves across global markets. It may look like just a technical move, but in reality, it is a strategic blow that undermines America's position as the most trusted financial vault in the world. You've seen how major nations are beginning to redraw the map of global financial trust, with a step that could shake the throne of the dollar and upset the balance of economic power. So, are we witnessing the beginning of the end of America as the world's financial safe haven, or just a temporary storm? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue uncovering the hidden stories behind the decisions that are reshaping the world. See you in the next episode, where the truth is always stranger than fiction.